So welcome to another video on the Floral Design Workshop. My name is Cheryl. I'm glad you're with me today. We have been breaking down the principles and elements of design that will guide you in making beautiful arrangements. So we started out with the element of line. It's the backbone or structure of an arrangement. Line designs are very dramatic pieces that make a statement. They direct your eye all around the shape. Knowing which line design to use in any circumstances is important because you want to be able to make an arrangement that's appropriate for that occasion. Let me give you an example. We've already done the static line arrangements. That's vertical and that's horizontal. Now, vertical line has a lot of strength to it. It uses its height to represent that. So example, I take it to a bank opening. That's a very powerful arrangement, and it means we can take care of your money. Of course, that's what you want it to say. Next is a horizontal arrangement. That represents stability, any kind of horizontal line that's stability. Well, that would be perfect for a business meeting. It's going to break up those great big conference tables, but it also means control because of the grounding nature of that arrangement. So next up are the dynamic line designs. They're dynamic because it really allows your eye to move all the way around the arrangement without limitation of the actual ground. So they can be curved, they can be diagonal, they can be slanted, or even zigzag. Today we're going to examine diagonal. It's incredibly energetic and it gives direction. That's what a diagonal line does. It actually gives direction. So think about maybe pointing your way to an entryway. And then the other thing is these arrangements are very, very clean and narrow in their nature. So they work as a perfect backdrop. Maybe you could put a picture in front of it or something for a birthday or even a celebration in life. So I know I just gave you a bunch of information and we're going to break this down little by little. I am really excited to show you diagonal line. Let's get started. So supplies that you're going to need for today's project is a shallow dish with some wet foam or oasis that I've already measured, cut, and soaked. And then I taped it off with our 1/4 inch waterproof design tape. I did off-center tape this because I'm going to be putting flowers right there in the middle and I don't want the tape to be in the way. After that, I also want a pedestal to put this on. This is it's actually a candlestick. I love this. I think it's gorgeous. And then I've put some little sticky dots on here. These are the sticky dots that I've used. They're really kind of paper thin. I like these. That will just help adhere your container to this so it's not moving around too much. I do have some bamboo skewers. You could actually use a ruler. What this is going to do is help me determine that 45-degree angle. I have some wires in case I have to wire any of my greens or my flowers. And then of course, you'll need some nice sharp snips. I do have also a paper towel that I'm going to use to help strip some of my greens, some of my eucalyptus. This is a handy dandy little tool right there. All right, let's get to the good stuff, the flowers. Today we're going to be using a Gerber daisy. In the South we call it a Gerber. I know some people call it a Gerbera or a Gerbera, just depending on your region. This is stock. It's beautiful, graceful, smells delicious. For a filler flower, I have some limonium, not linoleum, it's limonium. Very soft. Gives this very sharp arrangement something soft. Now I was looking for accent flowers and I couldn't find exactly what I wanted, but I came across some of this painted ruscus. I think this is sexy. I love this stuff. And then we have some spiral eucalyptus. I think this is also going to help really give that sharp edge. And then some filler greens. This is so I can cover my mechanics. This is called Floral. You could use Baker. I'm not a big fan of Baker fern. And then this is spring awry, again, just to kind of soften those edges a little bit. And then I might use some Italian ruscus, again, just to help reiterate that direction. I think we're ready. All right, so what we're trying to do is create a 45-degree angle. I'm going to go into the middle of my oasis on the side, but I'm going to push my bamboo skewer up. This is just going to help me create that line for my first bloom. And then I'm going to come over on the top about 3/4 of the way, and I want them to line up. I want that to feel like there's a continuous line between this, and that will establish our first blooms. So we're going to use stock. This is going to create the first part of our line. So knowing where to cut, we want our blooms to be 1.5 times the length of the container and at least 1.5 times the height of the container. Really, really easy way to measure is take your bloom like this and then move it halfway out, and then know that we need at least 2 inches to put into our oasis. And this is where we will cut right about here. And I think if I measured, it would be about 18 inches. Okay, so I'm going to give it an angle cut. Show you, this is where we're going to put our first stem. Give it a nice push in there. And then if everything works out the way it's supposed to, when I do this one, it's going to create that line. Might have to twist that just a wee bit. This one is really heavy. I think I'm going to save that for here and use these lighter ones for up here. I'm looking at this and really I have to stop. All right, so I had to do a redo. I put in my first blooms and I did not like the angle, and I realized it was because I didn't have my oasis positioned properly. So as you can see, what I've done is turned it on the side, so I've got a lot more space up and through here to be able to get that deep angle. And then this one, I had pushed it over too far, and again, it was almost horizontal, and this, you really want that deep 45-degree angle. So now I'm going to go back to my first bloom and get that angle perfectly. That's what I wanted. Okay, and then for my second bloom, again, we're going to measure that 1.5 times. So that's 1.5 times your container 1, and then 2 with giving it about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. And now I've got my first placement for my diagonal line. Then we will start building. I've got this nice heavy one that I'm going to bring close. And you want this whole arrangement to be really, really tight. I don't want a big ball here in the center. I want it nice and tight and close. About, again, 1.5 inches in and push it in. I do not want the stems to come out this side. They're not going to be able to drink if they come out of the oasis. Again, we know we need about 1.5 inches. And I do cut this at a 45-degree angle because what that does is allow a little bit more surface area to drink, and you have a nice sharp point that you press into your oasis. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, I want to establish the center in through here. I have these gorgeous Gerbers, and it's got a little bit of a bend to it, and I want to control that. So I have some wire. Show you how I fix that. We're going to pierce the back. I like to put my finger right here in the center. I'm going to pierce the back, and then I'm going to rotate the flower very gently. And then I'm going to push on the wire, not the flower. If I push on the flower, that is going to snap it every time. It's just some gentle pressure that's going to change the shape of this a little bit. Now I've got a little bit more control. Okay, so we're going to go right in the center. I don't have that much depth, so I'm only going to be able to work in this area right here. That's about 2 inches down. Give it a snip. This is also where those nice sharp snips to go right through that wire come in handy. All right, I want to keep in mind, I want to keep that line And just using one, it's gonna have an eyeball. I don't like that. Kind of just gentle pressure. It will straighten him out a little bit. I'm gonna keep in mind that line. I want to go right in with the rest of the flowers. Now these are typically one-sided arrangements. Usually you don't see these from all sides, but you could do something on the other side if you needed to. This one doesn't need much pressure at all. I'm gonna snip and then right in line with the others. I do think I want to add just a little bit more, kind of having them peek in through there. I think could be interesting. Let's give that a little look-see. And I'm gonna push him way down deep. And I like that he's at a different angle, so it's not, I'm gonna actually cut him down a little bit more. Yeah, I think that gives a little depth maybe. I don't know, I'll see in a minute. Let's see what some of this little jazzy ruscus is going to do for us. I think this is fun. Remember, you don't have to use all of your stems the way that it comes. We're just going to use some little bits and pieces for some accents for this. And then I can actually use, like I like this, it almost looks like a little flower in here. Okay, so I'm going to snip off a little bit here. Just going to have them, these are accent flowers. I don't want to make a massive statement, and this is a lot of color with this magenta metallic. It is kind of pretty too. All right, let's do some of this eucalyptus. Now, I think if you remember one of my other videos, this is one of my tricks, is I take this paper towel and I grab onto whatever I don't want and just strip it right down. And that way I don't get all that eucalyptus oil all over my hands. I don't want to hide my flower, but it does need a little bit more direction, I think. So let's do one more on this. And I think I want to see how long this one is. Yeah, let's make this one just that long too. All right, so next up we want to start filling in with some greens. You know, I've got to cover those mechanics, and but I'm going to keep it really as close in as I possibly can. I don't want to get in the way of this too much, but I definitely have to cover in through here. And we're going to start off with some Floral. And let's keep these pieces pretty close. All right, we're going to go right up under. Like I said, I don't want too much of this green showing. Still trying to keep them going towards the side instead of just right smack in the center. This is one that would drive me crazy. See the little bug-eaten pieces? That would be for the back, it's not for the front. Okay, let's go off to the side here. Now I know what's going, you go, oh, I want to cover all of this and have it drapey and everything, but remember, it is all about keeping that angle, so you want to keep it nice and tight, 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 tight. Can I say tight one more time? All right, so let me turn this little guy. Actually, I'm going to point this down into the oasis because I'm trying to keep that, I want it pointing all up. I don't want it to drape really. And if I put them to the side, they're going to go flat because they've got these little lateral branches. Okay, I think that's enough Floral. I've got some other greens that we'll use, but I'd like to first accent with a little bit of our limonium just for softness. I really think that every arrangement needs to have 3 different sizes of flowers and at least 3 different textures. I'm just cutting off little bits of this and we're going to tuck him in. And I'm just using like little pieces of this because I want to, I don't know, I just think it needs to be kind of graceful on this kind of really but can be a severe arrangement. I mean, sometimes that's great. You want that architecturalness. Okay, I think that that's pretty good. I'm going to add a few more greens in our next one. All right, so I think I do want to use some of this Italian ruscus. I've got to be careful though, because I noticed that it is really starting to almost arch down here a little bit. And what I want to do is redirect that focus, maybe make it a little bit sharper. And I'm kind of giving the greens just a little bit of a bend, kind of, I want you to go in the direction I want you to go in. All right, and again, measuring, that is about where I think I want this. Lands us right about here. So I'm going to cut, and then I do want to thin this out a little bit. These are beautiful, but you don't need to have all of that bulk. Yeah. I'll come back around here. You know, let me use my Lazy Susan and give this a little bit of a spin. Okay, I think I like that. Then again, we'll measure. That is where the, let's see if I can, we're going to spin again. You can see, and I'm going to cut here and thin it. And you can see I need some serious green and cleanup back here. But I think that this really does kind of give an idea of what I'm talking about when I say diagonal. All right, let's take a minute and just give this some coverage super fast. I don't want any of these greens sticking up above the arrangement, but we certainly don't want any of this showing either. So I'm going to want everything to try to lay just as flat as possible. I'm going to start doing this side. And it's always a good idea to have extra greens. May not use it, but greens are so inexpensive that that's not a hardship usually. Okay, well, look at that big piece of tape just hanging out there. Ooh. I think I'm gonna have to play with something else here. Let's see if we can't get this to cover that. Yeah. And then of course I've got some holes right here. Bring that around. We definitely need to get that covered. I want to fill in with some of this ruscus in through here. Now I've just broken off the little branches of these because I don't want a ton, but I like the added texture that this gives. And I still haven't used a spirea yet. I think I need to break that out in just a moment. All right, I love this spirea. You could use asparagus fern. That is really very lacy too. And I think I'm just going to start off with using a few of these little pieces, making a grouping, that's exactly what that's called, to give it a little bit more impact, but I want it short too. Yeah, I think that that's nice. I like that very much. Okay, so let's do that again. I'm just breaking off these little bits here, and then I'll do one on the other side. And let's do one on the top, but it's going to be tight. Be close in, just for a little softness. I'll cut part way down here. All right, and as I'm looking through this, I did the, he was sticking out way too far. I did the limonium down here, but I didn't have any up and through here, and I do think I need to add just a wee bit more, and then I think we are just about done. I just need to give it a spin and look for holes. Make sure I don't have anything that's tragically showing we always want to cover our mechanics. Just one more down in through here to draw the eye along. Okay, I see that I've got to cover a little bit in through here, and then I think we are going to be done with this line arrangement. All right, so giving it a spin. I don't think I see, oop, right there, right there. Okay. And I think that is it. Okay guys, so this is diagonal line arrangement. So you can see how much energy this particular piece has. Your eye just goes back and forth endlessly. And this is what I meant by a backdrop, that this could be a photo, this could be a book for a sign-in table. Because this is very shallow, it doesn't take up a lot of room, makes perfect background. So anyway, I hope you join me next time. We'll be doing a curved or crescent shaped line arrangement. See you soon.